What's the deal? What's the deal? Welcome back to the Smoking Budz Network. This is the Wake and Bake Podcast. I am your host, and flying solo today is New Jersey Supreme. Thank all you guys for joining me this morning, man. And hopefully we have a great day, great conversation. We're gonna get into some dope shit today, man. How you doing this morning? Okay, fine. Hopefully everybody good. I'm feeling real good, man. I'm happy. I'm healthy. Everything's going fine in the world of New Jersey Pre. Everything but the Dallas Cowboys, and we're gonna get to that a little bit later on, man. But we got some topics that we're gonna get into today. But before we do, man, I do have an announcement for you guys. The Smoking Bud Network is now offering memberships to all of our buddies on YouTube now, starting at just 99 cents. You guys can become a member over and enjoy some exclusive content, some exclusive emojis, and so much more, man. You go ahead over there to the Smoking Buzz Championships over there. Content will be dropping on there soon. If you're the Anarchy fan, you might want to become a member because you get the episodes about a week earlier than they actually drop on YouTube and shit. So I appreciate all the support, guys, man. Let's get into this episode this week. And this week, we got some new topics we're going to be talking about. It's not going to just be hip-hop. We're going to be talking about a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of movies and shit. So we're going to get into that also. And let's do that right now, Let's do that right now. It looked like I'm kind of skipping over here, but hopefully we good. So our first topic, y'all. Netflix buys Warner Brothers. For moviegoers, for people that like to watch streaming services such as even AEW that is featured on. What does this mean for people that that's fans of actual theater? That's the main issue that I'm receiving from in Warner Brothers. It's not necessarily about them just monopolizing, in my opinion, but it's also certain things that we do as people. You know what I'm saying? Like we enjoy, like a lot of us enjoy going to see a good movie at the actual movies. That's a decent and a dope ass experience. I know when Sinners had came out, my wife and I had went and saw that in the movies on opening night, and that was dope as hell, yo. That was a dope ass experience seeing that in a predominantly black room. Most of the people that went and saw, not with us, what I'm saying, we didn't have a crowd, but most of the people that was in that movie theater were also black. So it was just a dope experience to have. And with these movies, like that Sinners was shot in IMAX, you can't find that type of like feeling at home. You feel me? You got to find that somewhere in these theaters and stuff. Like you, no matter how big it is, no matter how big your wall is, if you got a projector screen or something, it's just not the same experience that was out there in the theaters, and you experiencing that. You know what I'm saying? And you talk a movie about what you experience and how you interpret it. It's just a dope ass, in my opinion, it's just a dope ass experience when you actually get the chance to movies in person. Netflix did probably be doing 13 theatrical releases a year after they purchased for $82.7 billion, which is a crazy number. But we'll be still releasing about 13 movies in the theaters per year, if I'm not mistaken. But see, my question about that is are there going to be Netflix originals? Or like, are we going to get a Stranger Things movie in the theaters? Are we going to get, what's another a huge Netflix Squid Games movie in a theater? Like that's the questions that I have when it comes down to how the Netflix, bought WB. And our streaming services such as HBO Max, how would that affect that? HBO Max have some great shows on there. For the past couple of years, they probably had some of the best shows that came out recently. You know, all the DC shows with the Penguin and Peacemaker and shit like that. Now you got Welcome to Derry, and you have so many other shows. I mean, it's so many shows on HBO Max that I don't even watch. These just that I watch. So there's a lot of stuff on HBO Max that people were loving and using on there. I'm a huge wrestling fan. What about how AEW is being streamed now? What streaming service they go to? Because WWE and Netflix has a deal together. I'm pretty sure that Netflix is not going to allow AEW. So that's also a question about those guys and how are they going to be able to continue to stream? Will they have Amazon Prime or Paramount Plus? Or can go over to Disney. Believe that that's still under the of the whole Netflix TKO endeavor type of shit that WWE has going on. Kind of lagging and glitching out is really pissing me off. We gonna work through this shit for real. But yeah, as hopefully you guys can answer down in the comments below. What do you think? How do y'all guys feel about the fact that we some Netflix movies? Do you guys expect higher quality movies, and or now that Netflix has bought WB? Do are we expecting like a better quality? Basically, the final season of Stranger Things is shaping out to be the amount of money. I believe they said they spent anywhere between 400,000 to I think a couple million like that. It might be even more for real. It might even be more than that for real. It might be a dumbass number that I'm just making low because it just didn't make sense to me. But they spent a lot of money per episode on the last Stranger Things. I think them acquiring WB allowed them to spend a lot more money series and Netflix originals. I think this is definitely more of a boost to Netflix than it is to Warner Brothers, without a doubt. But I really feel like to go to the movies and experience stuff in the theaters because I think Netflix is away from us and just make everything about being home and be everything being at your leisure. So that's how I look at it for real, man. I think that is going to affect a lot of things, and hopefully it does not affect our next topic, which is one of my favorite things that's going on this year. And I'll let you guys know it definitely is a horror. One of my favorite characters, Pennywise Dancing Clown, aka It, the Deadlights, Bob Gray, whatever the fuck you want to call him, man. But let's get into talking about Welcome to Derry, bro. This season, this is fucking fun to watch. So, as a fan of the book, series when it came out back in the 90s, as a fan of the Andy Muschietti's part 1 and part 2 Derry, I thought the way that he able to expand the lore and even build on top of certain things that was already in the books, and then this season and the seasons to come are about the interludes that Mike Hanlon are telling you in the book. This about the black spot that if I'm not mistaken in the book, Will Hanlon, Mike's father, was also there. Now I think that took place in the 50s, late 50s, whereas though it's taking place in the early 60s on this one. But of the time it plays, this shit damn near perfect. So throughout the season, we saw different variations of the entity. Some of us like to call him Pennywise, but the reason why the emphasis on this show is called It Welcome to Derry and not Pennywise Welcome to Derry is to see all the many forms that it take. In the book, it actually, if I'm not mistaken, because I haven't read the book in years, but I am a huge fan of it. But if I'm not mistaken, it takes the form of like a fucking bird and shit, and that's how he attacks the black spot, if I'm not mistaken, and shit. But Dick Halloran is in the black spot and in the book, and he it in the black spot. and expanded on that lore perfectly throughout this season. Dick Halloran is a huge. If you guys don't know who Dick Halloran is, he is the black man from The Shining that was helping out the little boy that had The Shining and whatnot. But he like expanding on his lore was amazing. Well, this season, all, almost make you want a Dick Halloran show to see what happens after he leaves Derry before he gets to the what is it called, the Overlook Hotel. I think that's what it's called over there in on The Shining. But that like his involvement has been great. Like I said, lore building on top of everything that we already knew about Stephen King's version of it is good. Some things they changed, some things they kept the same. Of course, like I said, when you change in the time periods of these stories, some things will seem a little bit different. First episode, we had a fake out version of the Loser Club, which if you watch season, it completely messed up everybody when you saw the entire Loser Club except for maybe two people get up out of here in the first. So we had the first episode. We had Teddy Uris, which is Stanley Uris from the club that we're used to seeing uncle and shit. So I believe that Teddy older brother episode is actually Stanley's father or whatnot. But we kick it off with him and his friends um Maddie, and we starting off with these 4 or 5 characters or whatever, because Veronica Grogan also comes into the picture a little bit later on, I think in episode 2. But and if you're a fan of the book, when you hear, so in the first couple of episodes, they call her Ronnie. They don't call her Veronica. So there's a lot of theories going around like, hey, is this Veronica Grogan? Because that's and also, if I'm not mistaken, in the very first of Andy Muschietti, you know what I'm saying, little series or whatnot, when Bev is in the talking in the drain, character says, "I'm Veronica." So if you guys don't remember that, go back and watch that and tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm tripping. But if you guys read the book, y'all know that shit get real. Pennywise don't lose until he gets to the Losers Club. You know, he don't lose, so he's undefeated before he gets there. I know that it was told in chapter 2 that the Native American group was able to keep him dormant or keep him asleep or years, but I think that was way before what happened or what happens in the 80s. But some of the best things that I've seen in this movie, I mean, in this their ability to just build up characters and take them away from us. Some of the best parts of the season, like I said, the very first episode just set the tone, in my opinion, on how we should expect this season to go. Pennywise is winning this season, in my opinion. The sub story, though, the whole military base thing, I think that's a way to try to Leroy Hanlon into the story, which is Mike Hanlon's grandfather, Will Hanlon's father. I think is, you know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at his story. I'm not mad at his. I don't think that we necessarily needed the story for real. Shaw played a white dude from everything. He played in the Warriors, of course, as a young man. But some of my black comic book fans might know him as the engineer on this and shit. But he's basically just crazy as shit. He wants to control the United States, or he wants to put the United States best place by unleashing Pennywise on it and just making everybody fall into place and scared, you know what I'm saying, fearful of what's to come and shit like that. So his theory is Pennywise comes and he infects the town and everybody go crazy until he goes back to sleep, and after he goes back to sleep, everything. So so he thinks that if he can unleash Pennywise on the United States, that same shit that happened to Derry will happen to the, but he don't understand that Pennywise is not anything to be controlled at all. His nickname is the Eater of Worlds. So you do with that information. My best parts of the season so far, of course, not only the story itself, the different forms that the entity of it, because that's something that we really didn't get the chance, excuse me, to really explore that much in the movies, because your time, so you got to fit a whole story into 2 hours basically, and sometimes expound the way you want to. So right now on Welcome to Derry really helps expand how scary and how straight up pure evil the entity that we call real. So watching these guys from the first 7 episodes is this Sunday, guys. So make sure you tune in. Watching these first 7 episodes, some of my favorite moments would probably be, let's just go top 3 moments, so we won't sit in here all day. Top 3 moments, and I don't actually what episodes they're from, so we're gonna just talk about it. And yeah, there we go. So coming in at number 3, we're gonna have when Ronnie was in her room while her father was out there talking, and her bed turns into a fucking womb, and she's basically inside of a pregnant stomach all over again, and she has to fight her way out. It's a horrific scene because she's fighting her way out of a womb at her age. She didn't revert back to a child. She's still, a teenager, or what I'm saying, maybe 12 around this time, whatever. And she has to really break out the womb in this kind of a trauma set. This is how her mother passed away. Her mother passed away giving birth to. So her breaking out that womb, and not only that, turning that a fucking bed turned into her mom, bro. Like that shit crazy. And she got all the amniotic fluid all over her. She had to bite the umbilical cord. Oh my God, my nigga. She had to bite the umbilical cord. You feel me? So it's like that scene right there, and then the bed turned into her mom, the arms snapping because the arms was the head frame and shit, like the frame of the bed frame. Oh, bro, like that scene still bothers me to this day, bro. The pickle scene from the store when Lily is in there shopping for her mom, trapped throughout the store, and you see all the creep old heads following her behind her, just peeking around the corners and shit, like, what I'm saying, weird shit. And then she finally gets cornered in the pickle out. She sees that her father's body parts are in the pickle jars. And what made this scene even more funny, a little bit, I guess, creepier, is because it was filmed with real pickles and real pickles. So she had to really fall, and I just know it had to be a weird feeling, whatever. But that's one of the best scenes, in my opinion. And you know what? An honorable mention scene is when Dick Halloran finally gets into Pennywise's mind, and Pennywise is like, "Who is you, nigga? How you do that? You know what? I'm interested in you from here on out." So it's me now. That's one of my favorite scenes also, because it also shows Dick Halloran like, oh, not as good as I thought I was with this, and there's entities or people, things, and shit that's way more than I am. But and then my number one scene from this past episode 7, the black spot. I can pick from this episode and say that favorite scene. Bro, I can't really tell you guys straight up which one in particular that I feel like is the best scene. Just go with, I had to go with Ingrid, aka Periwinkle, aka Bob Gray's daughter, Mrs. Kirsch, also another aka. It starts off Stan Kirsch, aka Mr. Kirsch, Stanley Cleaver, as they call him, had did some racist shit to the patrons of the black spot, all the black military people and kids and women, of course. Everybody basically stalled out. So he popped the hood to go to fix it, and Periwinkle is in the crowd, goddamn forest behind him and shit, right? Right. She comes through and he like, yo, Ingrid, what you doing out here? Go home before you go home, black and blue. Get all that shit off your face. And she like, yo, you gotta chill out. I'm not even here for you. What's up, Pops? And he like, huh? He turns around. He turns around, and there's Pennywise there with a fucking the size of his arm on his shoulder, and he Stan Hirsch goes to say something to the effect of, who the hell are, and before he even get hell out, Pennywise slices his face from this angle, and his head goes everywhere, his body drops. Pennywise got the top part of his head, and he's biting into it. Sitting there like, what's up, daddy? And yeah, this bitch has lost it, like completely lost it, because why the fuck would you see this and like, yeah, that's my daddy. Even if that was your, he's no longer that nigga, man. Like, come on. Like, I understand when your dad went missing or died, or guys, you was a relatively young child, but you're fucking stupid, my guy. Come on. You should know. 27 years later, that's not your goddamn daddy. Like, stop it. But she embraces him, and the funny thing about it is she's not afraid of him, and she actually loves him. The reaction that we get from Penny is a reaction out of disgust. He's looking to eat her. Like, a lot of people have that scene, like, you know what I'm saying, mixed when he's like got his tongue out and it do that little shit and whatnot. He's gagging because he can't. Just the fear is just as good as the love is bad. So if fear tastes the thing you ever ate, then love must taste like shit in Pennywise palate. You know what I'm saying? So when she embraces him and she shows him nothing but love, it almost made him gag. You ever saw a cat gag when they smell something bad? That's the reaction that I got from Pennywise, for real. So, and that's why, in my opinion, he made that shit short. Was like, I'm dipping. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to go to sleep. I'll be back. I always come back. You think I'm dead? I'm coming back. You feel me? And then that's when she really lost it. She like, nah, need me again. It's been 27 years. My nigga, like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta stick around for your baby girl and all my shit. And she grabs his arm, and Pennywise turns around and give her this fucking ass look. And it dawns on her that this nigga is not my father. It just, now after all, you watch this nigga cut a skull smooth across. No human being do that shit, first of all. Second of all, you watch this nigga eat out the skull. After he walked out of a flaming business, came in there, you know what I'm saying, eating bodies and faces and shit. And yes, my daddy. The moment this nigga said, nah, I'm going to sleep, you like, that ain't my goddamn daddy. So she's questioning him, and she says, my daddy, where's my daddy? He says, I'm your daddy. I'm Pennywise, your daddy. Boy, that shit took me the fuck out. Now, mind you, I'm already mentally traumatized and distraught from what happened inside the black spot. R.I.P. to my boy Richie. We already in spoiler territory. You guys should know by now. I ain't giving no spoiler warnings. So, but mentally, I'm traumatized. Emotionally, I'm fucked up for what happened in the black spot. All these black people died, kids getting in danger. My boy Richie sacrificed himself like a true motherfucking G. You hear me? And then we get out here, and Pennywise is just making a goddamn fool of a dickhead, in my opinion, for real, bro. One of the best episodes. Bill Skarsgård interpretation of Bob Gray versus his Pennywise is fucking beautiful. It makes you feel bad for Bob Gray, the original, the real Pennywise. The human entity stole his likeness and shit of his shit, because this guy was widowed, or you know what I'm saying, a man, his wife, he's raising his daughter. He lost his dream job of being in a big circus, so he's in that trap circuses right now. He's giving 100%, 110 he's doing because he loves to entertain not only children but people that's feeling bad or feel like, you know what I'm saying, shit is hopeless. And to have to actually deal with that mentally and be able to entertain people in a way like that to bring them some type of light shows what type of character he has. And I think that the way that Bill Skarsgård was able to show us difference between the entity and the man, I think that was so fucking beautiful and so perfect, man. You guys make sure y'all tune in, I believe 8 or 9 Eastern Standard Time for the season finale, guys. To be dope as shit, man. I wish we could all watch it together for real. I gotta get a Discord popping so we could just go on Discord and just all watch this shit together, because this is gonna be, in my opinion. And here, before we get to the next subject on Pennywise, well, on Derry. These are some of the people that I feel like are not. You guys let me know, and if you guys don't like this, just blame me. Some of these are definitely not making it. So, at number one, coming in early, we got Rose, our Native American bookkeeper, if you will. She is getting up out of here, in my opinion. This episode, there is a quote from the trailers back when I said, I always wondered what you would taste like. No Diddy. And I think that he was talking to Rose for real. So I think Rose is up out of here in this episode. Of course, Francis Shaw is the fuck up out of here in this episode. I think that's going to be one of the most deaths that we have this year or this season is going to be Francis Shaw's death, getting the fuck up out of here. And then we're going to get into some, you know what I'm saying, some real spoiler territory, also some Phil territory. Charlotte Hanlon dies in this episode. Willing to give her life for the cause. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that changes for the people of honor and respect. So I think that, but on some heroic type of shit, this episode. And then the final two, especially the final one, and I'll tell you why. I think Hank Rogan also dies in the same type of fashion, whereas though he sacrificed himself to help his daughter live. But it doesn't work. And Veronica Grogan also dies in this episode. Ronnie, as we know her, has been a fan favorite. She is one of my favorite characters. I hate how well they use characters to really make you invested. And you really have to care, guys. And then you going, just like what happened to my boy Richie, you're going to have to watch this happen. And Ronnie, aka Veronica Grogan, die in this episode, in my opinion. Not only because of the stellar about her being in one of the children in the drain. Chapter 1, when they're talking to Beverly, she mentions herself by name. I'm Veronica Grogan. Not only that, but in the book, so one of the people that Pennywise get in those preludes. So I think we order this episode. I think we lose Charlotte Hanlon in this episode. I think we lose Rose, our Native American guy, in this episode. And I also believe Francis Shaw, punk ass, in this episode. You guys let me know, because I told y'all, Pennywise, he encounters the losers in 90 something in this storyline. You know what I'm saying? And in Stephen King lore, I believe he encounters them in the 60s or whatever. But when he ate them, that's the only time he takes the LL. Any other time, he's basically just put to sleep. But boy, oh boy, I ain't gonna front. I am 100% prepared for this season finale and to see how this shit go. Out to all the people that was able to put this shit together. did a great job with this season so far. Andy Muschietti and his team did a great job with this season so far. Everything that you know what I'm saying, you guys doing up is appreciated 100%. Put down in the comments what you guys are looking forward to and shit like that. But as we move into our next topic, coincidentally, has to do with one of my favorite hobbies, favorite pastimes to watch, and that is professional wrestling, man. Shout out my guy. I call him John Jefferson, aka the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? He is retiring. Watch John. It's kind of a hurt piece. There's nobody really retires from the WWE. Like how Mrs. Kerr said, nobody really retires from the WWE. You feel me? But Gunther, if you guys are not keeping up on the WWE, Gunther is a relatively newer superstar in you guys' eyes. You know, but he is the guy that meant that they had for John Cena's final match. I believe he beat LA Knight in the final of that tournament to be the man to go on to face John Cena. So earlier this year, Gunther was also the man that retired Bill Goldberg. I don't know if this is a conscious effort from the in charge, Triple H, and all the people that's making the stories and shit like that about the fact that he's retiring these legends. But get into that a little bit later. I ain't going from. We're gonna get into that a little bit later because I want to talk about John Cena's career, his contributions to professional wrestling, um, more in particular the WWE itself. That grew up in the mid 2000s, 2010s. We witnessed John Cena, especially if you're a wrestling fan. Hell, even if you're not even a wrestling fan, pop culture, you know who John Cena is. You know what he means to the wrestling community, the world, especially WWE and its fans. In my opinion, I always said this shit. He's probably the greatest WWE superstar of all time because he did it all in the WWE. We say that Ric Flair is the greatest champ, the 16-time champ, whatever. Of course, how we look at it. Um, but I always said that that's a culmination of all the promotions that he's been in. Cena did this shit in the WWE and only in the WWE. So I give him credit for that. And he did it when the fans didn't want him, when he had go away heat, as we call him as fans and shit. Cena was there through and through. His work in the and I'm talking about like the wrestling community as fans has gone, you know what I'm saying, like underappreciated in my opinion. Of course, granting the most wishes in Make-A-Wish history, the Make-A-Wish Foundation history, John Cena with over I think 600 made wishes, granted wishes. The way he goes out of his way to make that he represents not only the WWE but professional wrestling as a whole properly. I respect that, man. What he was able to do. Of course, his character work as the Doctor of Thugonomics when we was younger, came out with the big ass lock chain and whatnot, and he kept having the throwback jerseys on, and that's when he introduced the jorts and he there Reeboks that pump up, right? You know what I'm saying? Remember when he used to get ready to the attitude adjustment and whatnot, and he had a Reeboks pump up. You know what I'm saying? He used to do that shit. So like he helped introduce a lot of the culture, even though of course he was a white man, but he was as authentic as he could be to himself, and I respect that. John Cena is all the true superheroes of the WWE. From his feats of strength to his never give up attitude, this man is definitely show fans around the world, especially younger generations, that you can overcome. So I got older. A lot of his earlier fans did get older. My children love John Cena. They don't see John Cena as this corny doofy because he plays one as Peacemaker, but and as Super Cena. Whereas though we put kind of a bad connotation on Super Cena, they love Super Cena. They really look at that man as Superman. So I think what he was able to do is to, whereas though they consistently looked at him as that guy, he's so good. He's just a good guy, person. You know what I'm saying? Like all that good shit. And not to mention, he looked like shaped like a superhero. He looked like he was built like a superhero. So all that shit came together and all that shit works. And then him be allowed for him not only be appreciated the way he's being appreciated now, but for real. Like I really appreciate what he did in the WWE, but he did outside that ring a lot more. You could not only care about his craft, but he cared about the people that cared about his. So shout out to John for real for being we thought he was for real. So my final run, right? Well, my thoughts on this final run is crazy because initially I was on board with everything that they was doing. From John Cena coming back announcing that he is retiring and you know what I'm saying, we got this many dates and all going on that journey to become a 17-time champ and eventually has seen a heel turn 20 years in the making that shook the world. But the heel turn itself was cool, right? Y'all guys know if you've been following this content, you've been following the channel, and especially when it comes to my wrestling content, you guys know how I feel. The heel turn in particular, I think it was a great moment ruined by involved. He should not have been involved in any way, shape, or form because of the simple fact that he wasn't involved to this shit. But we did have a John Cena heel turn. He was heel for about 3 to 4 months. They didn't know how to write John Cena. They've been writing John Cena as fucking Superman Clark Kent for the past 20 years. They did not know how to write John Cena as a bad guy. So they eventually flipped back to him being a good. Of course, well, in the reign of being a bad guy, he actually won the 17th World Championship by beating WrestleMania. He defended it a couple times against some of his greatest rivals throughout history. Randy Orton, Punk, you know, some people was hoping that we was turn for him to be able to get one last match, which unfortunately that haven't happened. But John Cena tried to give us every single thing that we would want from John Cena in his final run. He ended up winning the Intercontinental Championship, the one title that had his entire career. So he was able to accomplish that and become a Grand Slam champion. I'm talking wrestling terms now, so you guys are gonna have to stick with me for a little bit. But and it's no fault to John Cena at all by any. But the final run lackluster to say the least. We had some peaks. We had some really low valleys, man. And creative team for this, of course, a report came out recently that John Cena said that he wanted to do about 220 dates total. He ended up doing 39 or 40 or some shit like that. So WWE said they didn't need him for that many dates. They clearly did. They're struggling right now at their height of what they had earlier in this year. Yeah, so I don't like how they treated this man going out. I think they could a lot better. Don't get me wrong, like I said, they hit all the right notes, right? They broke Ric Flair's record. He got that goddamn Intercontinental Championship. You know what I'm saying? That he elusive in a cut that he'd been missing his entire career. You know what I'm saying? We got some matches. We got some matches with Randy Orton. We got some matches with Cody Rhodes. We had even a little thing between him that I think that they dropped the ball on that also. That could have been a lot bigger than what it was. But Triple H just want to do shit his way. So all in all, I think that they the ball on John Cena's final match. And oh yeah, the random fucking match with Brock Lesnar that happened. Just don't get me started on it. I feel like that should have happened and it needed to happen. I understand that they have too also, and you want him to hit, you know what I'm saying? You want him to get all that he had a history with that is available to be back. But if that's the case, John Cena, simple as that. I don't care if John Cena suggested the story is alleged that John Cena to lose that match. I don't care if he did. You tell him no, you win. Simple as that. Simple as that. Because you're expecting him to lose his final match. I am. So, and let's get into the opponent, the ring general Gunther. My guy. I am a fan of how he works in the ring. I'm a fan of as a professional wrestler because he says he's not a sports entertainer. He's a professional wrestler. I ducks himself on the microphone, even though he has an accent. I don't care about that. I don't know doing this shit on purpose. You know what I'm saying? But I think that like forcing like having all the quote unquote legends is looking kind of suspect, bro. Because like you don't do since he retired Goldberg, he was sitting there chilling. I've seen it basically. So it's like, is this what you use it for to retire all your older stars and shit like that? Because I don't think that's a good move. Gunther is a really good guy in the ring. He's a really good champion when he had presence. He's a really good heel to have around. I understand that you don't want him to just be sitting there because you at the top of the card at all times. But I don't know. I don't know if this is the right guy to no history with Cena at all. I understand he ain't have Goldberg, but they did have some type of history there when he talking to Bret Hart and he said my favorite Goldberg. Then he told Goldberg, "Oh no, I lied. I said that shit." You know what I'm saying? So it's dope to even have, but they don't have no real true animosity or towards each other. So um I don't see how that goddamn he should have won that. If anybody didn't have no history, no true history with John, probably should have been LA Knight. That's the fan favorite. That's the guy that people have been wanting to see in the versus 101 for a good while now. So I think that's the guy that should have won. It would have been a mutual could have kind of mirrored a relationship, but we know that LA Knight loves and respects John Cena. Kind of learned a lot from Cena as his character goes, right? So it could have been kind of like a Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels type of moment, whereas though the future and your past, and it's time for you to get put out. You know what I'm saying? It's time for you to go to sleep, old man. You know what I'm saying? So I think they missed the opportunity with LA, and they gave it to Gunther. And like I said, I'm a huge I just don't think that he's the right person for this moment with John Cena's final match. Shit. That's just my opinion. You guys let me know what you think about basically saying, "I told you so." I knew he was a piece of shit, and I knew he had some fuck shit going on in his life. But I'm saying shit because I thought All right, so I think we back. I think we straight. Had some technical difficulties. I don't know what the fuck happened, but I think we good. I'm not 100% sure. If you guys are seeing me, if you guys hearing me, let me know, please, and thank you. All right, so like I said, we only more topic before we get the fuck up out of here. Apparently, the system. So we gonna do this shit real quick. Get the fuck up out of here. You feel me? We gonna get our NFL talk because we got to get these NFL picks up out of here and shit. We got to talk about a couple things that happened this past week. Not gonna talk about too much actual game shit, but we're gonna talk about some NFL news. Of course, starting off with our playoff talk and how it looks so far. So let's get into that. Like I say, I appreciate everybody that's still watching. Everybody that came through. Make sure y'all hit that like button for your boy. For real. Don't forget we do have the memberships out on YouTube now. So look, playoff picture, right? I ain't even gonna front, bro. As a Cowboy fan, I'm even on some. I'm not even. You know what I'm saying? Even, like if they make the playoffs or not, I think that this season use those two first round picks and go get you again. Go get you some defensive players. You know what I'm saying? But before we get into all that, let's talk about what's going on with the playoffs. Number one seed right now in the NFC, if I'm not mistaken, Los Angeles Rams. Number one seed right now in the AFC, if I'm not mistaken, is the New England Patriots. Both of those teams look like the best two teams in their respective conferences. I feel like my shit is acting up again. My shit is acting up again. What is going on, bro? Damn. I'm just trying to get I'm just trying to get through this shit. Let's put it like this, yo. Philip Rivers is a grandfather, literally, legit grandfather, grandfather, and he's going to be starting the NFL game this week. That's crazy. When you had people like hell, my co-host and I was talking about this. I would have called Cam, I would have called RG3, I would have called Andrew Luck, I would have called so many other quarterbacks before I called 44-year-old grandfather Philip Rivers. Did nonetheless, and they was able to get Philip Rivers for to come in here to play these final 4 to 5 weeks, or wherever how long their season is left, to try to help them salvage whatever is left after Daniel Achilles this past week. Shout out to Daniel Jones. He was having a great season too with the Indianapolis Colts, and unfortunately, he had hurt himself in this past game. I don't know if we're going to do any predictions for this week, for real, or our picks for this week because of the fact that it's so fucking choppy. So it was kind of pissing me off for real that I had to go through what I had to go through to get and shit. So I'm gonna do no picks. If anything, man, I appreciate everybody that came through. I appreciate everybody that's here. Like I said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, guys. As soon as I possibly can, love. I can't even exit out this bitch. That's how fucked up my system is right now, man. It's this is aggravating as a motherfucker. Aggravating the motherfucker.